Good afternoon, Tallahassee. I'm student meteorologist Jackson Ezel, and I'm taking a look at a dope camera now. Man, it is stormy out there. I would not want to be out there right now. Make sure to stay inside. We do have some more rain coming, and temperatures right now, pretty nice overall around the region. We just had that rain cool stuff off, and then current dew points. Dew points are pretty high right now, pretty moist because of that rain, but later in the show you'll see we have a cold front coming through, some more drier air. And then here's that radar look right here. We just had that storm move on through. Some are going to be dangling along. And then looking at our headlines, what else is in the show today? So this is what you can expect. Traveling through the country's coldest national park. It's also one of the most least visited national parks. And then tropical trouble for the Northeast. There's a lot of flooding going on, so we're going to see what's going on with them and how they can stay prepared. And then we're going to talk about El Nino and its impact on Tallahassee and how it can make our summers hotter going throughout the next year. Now we're going to go take things to the desk.
Hello everybody, happy Tuesday. It's another lovely night of FSU weather. Sabrina, how are you doing this Tuesday?
I am having a phenomenal Tuesday. How about yourself, Alejandra?
I'm doing very well. I'm enjoying the start of the week. We had some rain today. I know we've been having a little bit of a drought here in the Panhandle. I know the Western Panhandle and parts of Jacksonville. Did that rain impact you today, Sabrina?
You know, I would say that it impacted me today. We actually, ironically, left our meteorology class and walked outside to meteorology, weather stuff. It was actually pretty interesting. We saw a lot of lightning. What did you think about that lightning?
It was very, very impressive. We were sitting here in the studio. We were looking outside. We saw a lot of really intense lightning strikes here. But, you know, to know more about our local weather, we're going to pass things off to Nico, who is going to give us a nice look at what it's looking like here in Tallahassee.
Cam that's coming up now. As you can see, we've had some rain in the area today. It's 75 degrees right now. We had some thunderstorms earlier. It has cleared out a bit, but if you're walking around outside, we are potentially seeing some light rain in the area this evening. So definitely keep an eye to the sky, keep a raincoat, keep an umbrella handy as well, because you don't want to be dealing with this severe rain that you do see coming through Tallahassee. It does seem like it's going to lighten up as we head into this evening, but we do have to keep an eye to the sky. And here's where you're looking at what came through earlier today. You had stronger storms that passed through the area about 2 hours, 3 hours ago, where we did have a severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be done for the evening. It doesn't look like we're going to see anything severe, but still dealing with some rain. But as you look at temperatures, as we had severe storms pretty much area-wide today, 75 degrees, this is a lot lower than it was at this time yesterday when we did the show. So you're seeing the coolest patch just north of here where they had a lot of heavy rain, but we had a ton of heavy rain in Tallahassee too, and that's why we are seeing these cool temperatures. As you move to the east, pretty much everyone's seen it. Valdosta, you're at 79, and that's actually the warmest temperature in our viewing area right now. So pretty much area-wide, but we did get pretty hot before that. 92 degrees is 3 degrees above average and only 5 degrees off from the record that we set in 1991. So it was very hot. That fueled these showers and thunderstorms as we headed into this afternoon. The low was right around average and nowhere near the record low 55 set back in 1940. You can see another reason why we had an active sea breeze day today with our dew point. 74-degree dew point in Tallahassee. That's very muggy. Southern Georgia, 77 in Thomasville. You're getting close to 80-degree dew points. You know that it's going to feel very, very humid in that area. Maybe a little bit lower of a dew point out here, but I think it's probably just an error on the graph because it's pretty much dew points are high area-wide. But as we look into tomorrow, tonight looks like it's going to clear out. As we look into tomorrow, we're expecting some showers and storms to pop up. This time they'll move in from the northwest because the frontal boundary is getting closer. It's going to be still a bit away from here though, so it's not going to be as much coverage tomorrow as what we saw today, but still make sure to keep an eye to the radar just in case. As we go through tonight, we should see the rain end relatively soon, and then the rest of the night should just be mostly cloudy, and we aren't going to see any wind tonight. As you look at tonight's forecast, though, low of 73, pretty much low 70s area-wide. Your warmer spots along the coast where you have Gulf of Mexico's breeze, keeping things warm out there. As we take a look at your week ahead, a drier day tomorrow, but still some storms, and then as the frontal boundary gets closer, more active, and then next week we still have a chance of isolated storms as well. So definitely stay weather aware for the next week. But now I'm going to pass things off to Jackson.
Thank you, Nico. So now we're kind of gonna zoom out from our region here in Tallahassee and take a greater look at Florida as a state as a whole. Obviously, we have live cams on Miami, Orlando, Panama City Beach, and Tampa. It looks pretty rainy right there in Tampa. We'll not want to be outside there. Make sure if there's any lightning, make sure to go indoors to be safe. And taking a look at our current temperatures around the state of Florida. 84 Pensacola, Key West, all the way down to 90. We're feeling pretty nice here because of that rain. In Tallahassee, 74, and in Tampa, 82, and then Jacksonville, 85 as well. And taking a look at the future forecasts around Florida, Miami, 93 tomorrow, and then as you get into Thursday and Friday, especially that Friday night, you can see some rain. So on that late day commute Friday, getting off early from work, make sure to watch out for those storms. And then going into Tampa as well, you know, same story, 90s across the board and storms on Friday once again. And then Orlando, I feel like a broken record. It's going to rain on that Thursday and Friday and highs in the 90s. We're pretty much 90s all across the board in Florida. Except for Jacksonville. Jacksonville, 83 on Friday. And that's mainly due to that cold front that's going to be working its way on through, and it's really going to affect the panhandle, especially us here in Tallahassee. Pensacola, 90s and 87, and a small chance of rain throughout the week. And taking a look at the radar right now, we just felt those storms that just moved its way on past through here in Tallahassee. We might have some lingering storms in our area, especially down at Apalachicola, but we shouldn't expect any more severe weather like the severe thunderstorm warning we saw earlier today. And here we've got some pop-up showers here in Lee and Collier County, and then down here near the Everglades, a little pop-up storm, and across Alligator Alley, you might have saw a shower or two. So just make sure when you're out on the roads driving that you're not going too fast. And then now looking at the central Florida, Palm Bay, you might see a sprinkle or two. And down here in Bradenton, you could see a sprinkle or two as well. And then Tallahassee, storms made its way on through. Over here in east of Taylor County, there's some pretty strong storms, so make sure to be careful for that. And if you're going to go out, and then storms right here near Panama City. And then taking a look at the future radar, as we can see, you see those pop-up storms coming up on Thursday, and it's really not going to be until Friday when that front moves its way on through, but it's just the precursor of it and all those storms that are making its way on through. As you go on to Friday, you can see that it goes all offshore. And then tonight in Tallahassee, pretty much 70s across the board. It's going to be a really, really nice night. And then now I'm going to hand things off to Sabrina.
Thank you so much, Jackson. Here we're going to be looking at the southeast region where we have a lot of stuff going on, or well, we did have some stuff going on earlier today with that thunderstorm that kind of crossed through our area. But as we look out throughout the southeast region, we do see some cloud coverage, but not as much as there was earlier today. We see New Orleans is a little bit clearer than the rest of the region, but that's pretty good news for them, meaning that they don't have to worry too much about having umbrellas nearby. But the radar does tell us the same story. We kind of see all those scattered thunderstorms moving ahead of that cold front, which just we see in Tallahassee, that big bundle that's kind of developing here more into the late afternoon. So be aware of that as you're going throughout your day. Make sure you have an umbrella on you. And our current temperatures, we do kind of see them a little bit more temperate. We see that here near Mississippi and Louisiana, things are a little bit hotter in 91s, but in Florida, we are pretty lucky. Tallahassee's at 74, Miami's a little bit hotter, in 88. So that's pretty comfortable temperatures. If you're trying to go outside, just be aware of those thunderstorms that are kind of rolling through the area due to that cold front. And with our winds, we see a lot of different things going on. Not very, very windy, maybe a slight breeze, 8 miles, nothing more than 10 miles per hour, maybe except in Miami with 12 miles per hour coming from the east. So just hold on to your hats in case you don't get blown away. But with this weekend map, we do see more storms continue to roll through that area, and we also see Lee kind of move its way up to New England. We see a lot of cloud coverage and just storms overall, so just be prepared for a wet weekend. And with the muggy cast, we do see those dew point temperatures slightly elevated, so it is going to be a bit uncomfortable. I'm sure we've all been aware of that. Here in Florida, we are I would consider us the capital of humidity. But yeah, so just dress for the weather, you know, maybe not jeans, that's kind of uncomfortable, but to each their own. Moving across into the other cities, we are looking in Charlotte. Cooler temperatures in the low 80s, but they are having more comfortable temperatures. I mean, not temperatures, excuse me. Comfortable conditions with sun and lower temperatures in the high 60s, high 50s. And in Nashville, it's kind of the same story with a little bit of cloud coverage and slightly higher temperatures, still in the 80s and the 60s for the lower. And in Tampa, kind of the same story, except a little bit hotter and more rain. So I guess it's not really the same story after all. And in New Orleans, we are looking at more rain, kind of similar to in Tampa with higher temperatures. But we're going to move on to the new National Park segment with Ale.
Thank you so much, Sabrina. Folks, we're going to take you to a colder place than here in the southeast, and we're going to be talking about the Gate to the Arctic, which is the least visited national park. I think Jackson mentioned to the lack of roads and this park. So it is actually the coldest national park, average minimum temperature of 67 degrees Fahrenheit and a maximum temperature of 33. I know we are not used to those numbers here in Florida. Snow typically falls of the year, so that is basically the whole year. You're going to be expecting kind of a white Christmas, and snow has been reported in every month of the year. An annual snowfall average is 45 inches. That's nearly as tall as I am. And the temperature almanac is looking pretty nice, 58 degrees, so it's quite close to our regular average, and that low is looking the same. Much better than, imagine that, 78 in Alaska, that is crazy. 19 is more like it, but definitely very cold compared to us here in Florida. Currently it is 55 with a nice breeze. It's partly cloudy, so you can enjoy these gorgeous views. Look at that beautiful mountain there, that glacier. That is just gorgeous. I would love to go, but you kind of probably have to take a helicopter to get there. Doing a nice overview of Alaska, we're seeing some very chilly temperatures, 40s and 50s across the board, a little bit toastier here down in Fairbanks, but it's looking relatively cold. You know, they definitely have a much different summer and season than we do here in the southeast. However, they're no stranger to moisture. I know these dew points look low, but it's actually quite moist for Alaska considering how low their actual temperature is. So looking at that radar and satellite, it seems like it might not cover most of Alaska, but judging by what we're looking at here, it's looking like they might be seeing some cloud cover for these areas, maybe even precipitation. It's looking pretty moist and cloudy over there. And for the future, it's looking like a beautiful time in Alaska. Absolute clear skies, and it looks like it's going to be that sort of story for our 4-day forecast. Low chances of precipitation, nice high 50s, you know, really nice time to visit Alaska before you get down into those teens and even into those negatives. But why don't we pass things off to the desk, who's going to talk to us about El Nino.
That's right, thanks Ala. And actually those 50s look really nice here. Of course, we're kind of sweating here in the 90s, but we're going to kind of change gears here a little bit. Instead of talking about glaciers here, we're going to be talking about the El Nino Southern Oscillation, or the ENSO here, in relation to, of course, the whole cycle that kind of affects the way hurricanes or tropical cyclones form here. So I guess first off, we'll start with the ENSO is a consequence from the change of the strength of trade winds across the equatorial Pacific. So that actually kind of affects the way hurricanes may form in the Pacific or in the Atlantic.
Yeah, and of course these do occur when the Pacific equatorial winds slow down, so not a lot of water is being pushed in the direction to the Indo-Pacific, which causes more warm waters to linger over South America.
That's right, and this, of course, affects weather in many different places. So as I mentioned before, hurricanes is the big one. Of course, this time of year, normally El Nino is associated with weaker hurricanes or less hurricanes, but they can also even affect other weather as well, as you can see here on the graphic.
Yeah, and something really interesting to point out is you do kind of see that difference in the Pacific, where there's more warmer conditions in the northern, northwest region of the United States, and wetter and slightly colder, but not really, conditions in the southern Pacific of the United States, which I just think is pretty cool.
That is really cool. I will add too that of course this is all climatical, so you can doesn't mean just because it's wet and dry, or sorry, wet and humid in one place does not mean it can't be dry at other times. But the jet stream does move further south and of course increase in strength. That's why it's actually kind of helped us with bringing us more of that thunderstorm activity this past summer here.
Yeah, and of course, as I mentioned before, the southeast usually does see cooler and wetter winters, including in Tallahassee. So even though the main affected region is the Pacific Ocean, it can also cause a lot of different effects throughout the world, even as Aaron mentioned earlier.
Right, and kind of going back to the hurricanes earlier, it affects the at least Atlantic hurricane season by actually increasing wind shear. And what that does is these hurricanes like to be vertically stacked. That's what gives them their ventilation, allow them to actually kind of strengthen and form. That's actually kind of what affected Lee here. But you want less wind shear for better hurricanes, but of course we don't want better hurricanes, we want terrible hurricanes. So.
Yeah.
But we're going to send things off to the desk, or sorry, to the wall with Nico to give us more of an overlook on the northern trough.
Off once the graphic comes up, but there it is. So we have frost advisory in parts of northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin, and that actually sounds pretty nice with what it's been like here. It's been so hot and humid in the southeast. This would sound like a relief at the moment, and this is a pretty strong trough up here. It's getting pretty cold tonight. Right now it's not cold because it's about 5 in the afternoon because they're in central time out here, so it's in the mid-50s to the low 60s in this area with the frost advisory, but that temperature is going to plummet as we go into tonight. You're looking at your dew points around this area though. Look how low they are, 40-degree dew points, 41-degree dew point on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota. That's very, very dry compared to what we're seeing in the southeast right now, and you can see how dry it is. If parts of Canada, you have the low pressure centered pretty much around here over the Lake Superior area, and you can see how dry it is on the northern and western sides of that low pressure system. And looking at your radar, you can even see the rain rotating around the low pressure. You can see some bands of rain going into Wisconsin. You can see the band of rain out here northeast of Lake Superior. As you look at your water vapor, you can even see all the swirling with this. And as you look at your future forecast, you can see this trough, and you can see Hurricane Lee actually getting pulled up into it. And we're going to talk more about that with Aaron now.
That's right. We're going to talk about Lee and, of course, how that trough actually pulling the storm off to the north. And that's what we're going to have to look out for, especially in New England over the next several days. So I feel like we've been talking about Lee forever now. And we have been, of course, with, not forever, but over the past few week or so, it has just been kind of a weird, active setup here over the last several weeks or so across the Atlantic. So we have major hurricane, Category 3 Lee here. If you're plotting with me, 24.7 north and 69.4 west, moving off to the northwest at 7 miles per hour. So it's moving a little bit slower. That's normally what happens when it's still in the tropics here. Pressure down to 946 millibars. And it has been kind of lowering over the past several days or so as it's trying to get re-strengthened a bit. Due to that shear, of course, we had earlier, that's what actually caused it to go from a Category 5 down to a Category 2. But it's not just Lee here out in the Atlantic. We also have Margot out here, a Category 1 hurricane, 80 miles per hour. So pretty weaker hurricane compared to Lee. But if you're also plotting this one, it is 31.7 north and 39.8 west, moving off to the north at 14 miles an hour. So this one is nowhere near the U.S. and should stay well far away here over the next several days. Also, as we are in the peak of hurricane season, we're not just talking about Lee and Margot. We're also talking about Invest 98 here out of the far eastern Atlantic coming off the coast of Africa. We'll have to watch over the next several days to see if it does at least develop here. At least NHG is giving it about a 20% chance over the next 2 days and then 80% over the next 7 days. So spaghetti plots for the most part are showing it generally moving off towards the west, I should say. At least the ship, don't pay attention to that one. It's just one model, of course. But generally, we're going to expect a western, at least, transportation here over the next several days or so. So kind of going back to Margot here, Margot is moving off to the north and eventually is going to kind of move out of balance here out of the tropics. And what it's going to do is it's going to actually expand the wind field. And as it does so, it might bring some more turbulent waters here over the open Atlantic. But again, this is expected to kind of move off towards the north over at least for the rest of the week, and spaghetti models kind of show that same general idea there. Again, very large wind field, perhaps. So Hurricane Lee is also forecasted to move off to the north, and this is what we're going to have to watch closely because it brings it a little bit too close for comfort here to New England as a Cat 1 hurricane possibly. And as I mentioned, the same thing with Margot, as these storms move off to the extratropicals here, they tend to expand the wind field. So in other words, just because the storm might be out here, it could still even affect folks in Boston or even New York. So again, big one we have to watch out for. And the next name on the list is Nigel. So we'll have to watch to see if Invest 98L does eventually go to Nigel, but we'll have to watch over the next several days or so. So Jackson, what's going to happen with the New England flooding here?
Thank you for that. You know, I really hope that this Hurricane Lee does not get anywhere close to Boston and the I-95 corridor because it is going to cause a lot of heavy rains in the area, and we already have had a lot of heavy rains in the Northeast corridor. Here in Boston, we've seen a lot of heavy rains. Even as far north as Maine, we've seen a lot of heavy rains. Now, taking a look at the dew points, pretty mild, very moist in the region, mainly because of those flash floods that are occurring right now in the region. And then you can see that line right here. You saw it last night, Monday night, those flash floods came in, and they're very dangerous, and you need to be weather aware tonight because these are start making its way on through, and they could bring some really nasty storms and could make a lot of rainfall come down on already moist ground. And as you see, taking a look at the future radar right here, as it goes into Manchester, Hartford, Boston, Newport, very strong bands of rain making its way on through. Looking at the rainfall forecast, this is what we're seeing on top of what you already got last night. Another 1.5 to ½ an inch down here in Massachusetts, Connecticut, and then up even in Maine and parts of Canada, actually. You can see an additional 1.5 into 2.5 inches. And here's what you need to know. Basically, for all these storms that are coming through, you can see a lot of flash flooding. And the flash floodings are actually one of the most leading causes of death and disasters. So just make sure you are very weather aware tonight. Seek higher ground if caught in a flash flood. You know, you don't want to be on the basement floor of your house if all of a sudden water starts coming rushing in, and you know that's not a good recipe for anything. Stay up to date with the National Weather Service updates on local officials, and also make sure turn around and do not drown. If you see high water in the roadways, make sure do not go in them. And now I'm going to pass things off back to Allie with the lifestyle. Allie, what can people be doing here in Tallahassee?
There's always a lot to do here in Florida State, and looking at our nearby areas, FSU Sportsplex looking like a nice sunset coming out of these storms that we've been having this afternoon. Same story for St. George Island. It seems like it's going to be clearing up a little bit. Nice calm seas over there. And in Panama City, you can see that big ball of butter in the sky, that beautiful shining sun. Same story for Lake Bradford. You can see that beautiful sunset that we're going to start feeling and seeing here in Tallahassee. And if you are flying today, it's looking like a beautiful day to fly. I know it's raining, but we're apparently expecting no delays. Let's see if that's for the rest of the country. And wow, actually, New York and JFK, you're letting us down. We could have had a beautiful green, but they are expecting some rather significant delays there. So if you're flying out of JFK, maybe you're going to have a little bit of a late flight. If you are susceptible to pollen, today is your day, folks, because you have low pollen for grass, weeds, and trees. So you don't really have to worry about your allergies. And if you like to walk your dog in the morning, it looks like that is your time. 73, nice in the morning. It will be warming up to 83. That's a little bit cooler than we've been seeing lately. However, I don't know about y'all, but going outside in this humidity, you start sweating immediately. So your beautiful pup may not like that. If you're going stargazing, it seems like conditions are fair, but we are kind of expecting some cloud cover tonight. So maybe put your telescope and take it out another day. For FSU volleyball, we are going to be indoors at the Tully Gym, but for that commute this Tuesday, so tonight at 6, it's going to be 80, nice and cloudy, so probably very humid outside. But folks, I hope you come out because that is a rivalry game. We got to beat the Gators. And if you are supporting our women's golf, it is going to be 65, very nice in Minnesota, I believe, Lake Elmo. So it's going to be today and tomorrow. It's going to be quite nice for our women, and I hope they win. For our FSU soccer, same story, folks. It's going to be nice and partly cloudy, 80 degrees at Clemson, so South Carolina. It's going to be this Friday. Make sure you tune in. We got to support our Noles. I'm hoping for another national championship this year. As for the beach, it's looking nice, it's looking better. Not so stormy as it was before. In the morning, if you're going to the beach, it's going to be chilly, a little bit also thunderstorming, so maybe you wouldn't want to go. But it's going to be warming up at 11 a.m. So, folks, for the next following week, it's looking kind of rough, folks. It's going to be stormy, it's going to be hot. I hate to break it to you, but some of your commutes won't be the best, and make sure you are bringing your umbrella. But I'm going to hand things over to Sabrina, who's going to close off our show with the local.
Thank you very much, Ada. Yeah, we're going to be looking over Doak Campbell Stadium. We kind of see that rain cloud kind of lingering over here, but we do see a beautiful glimpse of the sun, which is, you know, I think a really nice day to end out or nice way to end out our day. We see those temperatures at a much more comfortable place, 75, but it is humid. We see that thunderstorm kind of like lingering and not much wind going on in the area. So as I said, and kind of like referenced in the southeast region, we do see that rain just kind of coming in. We have that cold front like about to pass through. So yeah, be aware, have that umbrella on you. And our temperatures are also looking relatively mild, which is pretty good change of pace from the pretty high temperatures we've been having recently. So we have 75 in Tallahassee and a little bit higher in Marianna, as well as Donaldsonville, excuse me. And current dew points kind of around the same as our current temperature, so we do see that humidity is going to be quite up there, so dress appropriately. Definitely be aware of that. Not very comfortable conditions to be in currently. And as we look more into the future and tonight, we kind of see that rainstorm kind of clears out, but we do have some kind of clouds lingering over the area as the day goes on. And as we go into tomorrow, we do see also a little bit more showers, but we are expecting a lot of showers going into the week. And tonight, as I mentioned before, we are having, you know, some thunderstorms, good temperatures, and mostly cloudy, but not a lot of wind in the area. So for tonight, we see those temperatures honestly staying in the same kind of realm, low 70s, with that rain. Not much is changing as we move on into tonight and tomorrow. But we do see that the temperatures are going to be way higher, 91, partly cloudy with some winds, a little breeze going in. So if you're going to class, maybe consider bringing an umbrella, because honestly, that storm caught me off guard this afternoon. So yeah. And tomorrow, we do see those temperatures are higher and that rain stays in the area. So as we look into that week ahead, yeah, we just see the same story. We see rain, and not much is changing as we move on. But let's move on to the closing segment with the desk. Aaron, Jackson, let us know what's going on.
That's right. And honestly, kind of looking forward to that, perhaps a little bit of a dry, cooler down, so to speak, this upcoming week. So with that kind of cold front, backdoors cold front, as some may call it, coming up. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's really nice to get some nice refreshing air into our area after such a hot summer we had. And we heard from the El Nino, like that El Nino could make the next summer even hotter next summer. We'll have to keep an eye on it.
Yeah, that would not be good here. We need it to be cooler, right? And honestly, at least I kind of envied with that Glacier Park segment there. You know, that honestly 50s sound pretty nice here this time of year. And of course, we're just sweating, as Ollie mentioned earlier, just walking out the door basically, not even doing much. You know, it's just.
Do you have your own private helicopter to get up there?
I wish I did.
There's no roads or trails.
Honestly, you know what? Maybe I have to look into getting one of these days for that.
We might have to go in on it together.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be a pretty long day, huh? You know, having to go from go all the way down to the park there. But it's actually one of the least what is it called? One of the least visited national parks. I found out too, apparently. So, but anyway, so make sure you guys follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/FSU Weather.
And make sure to follow us on Instagram at instagram.com/FSU Weather.
Right, or if you're on Twitter or X, whatever floats your boat, twitter.com/FSU Weather.
And if you found us right now, you're watching us on YouTube. But if you want to show your friends, make sure to catch us on YouTube at youtube.com/FSU Weather.
Also, TikTok, folks. Follow us on FSU, or at FSU Weather on TikTok. You better do it, okay?
You can see him dancing.
Yeah, there you go, yeah. So that's all we have for tonight. I'm student meteorologist Aaron Saray.
And I'm student meteorologist Jackson Zell.
Have a fantastic night.